that they can join us as they see fit. I know everybody's got probably things to do on the middle of the day. And Wednesday, as we approach 5 o'clock.
No. But traffic going up to Athens is always bad, so it took us about over 2 hours to get there last time.
It was showing. Oh, there she is.
There we go.
She did again. It was showing only an hour and a half when she left, so.
All right, well, let's get started and do a few housekeeping matters. We'll go ahead and get started with the meeting. Welcome everyone to this meeting. It seems like it was not that long ago that we were all together here on the Technology and Calculator Subcommittee, but today is a very, what I hope will be a very exciting and interesting day, all in a good way. The last meeting, of course, of this subcommittee was on September the 12th, 2025. And just before we get started, Lazaro, if you will review the rules and just explain how we will conduct our business today.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Lazaro Quintanilla. I'm the program coordinator for the Georgia Child Support Commission. I will briefly discuss a few rules to help us navigate the meeting today via Zoom webinar. The Technology and Calculator Subcommittee members and staff are designated as panelists within Zoom and can speak at any time during this meeting. All other participants are designated as attendees and are muted during the meeting, but may type a message in the Zoom chat feature if needed. The Child Support Commission does not hear public comment during any of its subcommittee meetings. Anyone wishing to give public comment by speaking may do so at a full Child Support Commission meeting, the next of which will be on October 24th. Additionally, you may leave a written comment for the Commission at any time through the Commission's website. In conclusion of today's meeting, staff will post the recording on our YouTube channel, Georgia Child Support Commission. For your convenience, I will put the Commission's web address and YouTube channel links in the chat for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will defer a consideration of the minutes until a quorum is established. And if a quorum is not established, we will distribute those minutes for an email vote. But let's go on to our old business. We've got 2 items of old business. One, just by way of a reminder that in our last meeting, the subcommittee did unanimously approve a motion to recommend to the commission that worksheets older than 5 years be archived. And that recommendation will be presented to the full commission on Friday at the full commission meeting. That's Friday, October 24th. And I believe that meeting begins at 10 o'clock on Friday. So that will move us to the second item on the old business portion of our agenda, a cost analysis report from the Administrative Office of the Court's IT team. And the team will discuss the financial cost of server and data maintenance, recommended measures for cost reduction strategies. And Kurt, I'm going to sort of turn it over to you. And if you don't mind, if you would do the introductions or handle the introductions of the IT team that's with us here today and how the presentation will be made to the subcommittee.
Sure. We have KV. He is our newest. What is your official title?
I guess senior developer consultant or something.
Senior developer consultant, and he's tasked with making sure Senate Bill 454 rolls out smoothly. We have Matthew Faller. He's our main developer that I've been working very closely with in making sure the parenting time and the low income adjustments roll out smoothly. And then we have Giovanni. You are the Amazon Web Services extraordinaire with the AOC IT team. And he is the main one that will be speaking about the cost analysis report. So Giovanni.
Well, Giovanni, you've been very busy this week. If you are the AWS designee here at the Administrative Office of the Courts, and we welcome Judge Davis, who's joined us as well, but please proceed.
Alrighty, well, it's a pleasure to be present here. Thank you guys for inviting me. To give you all a brief update, we have received a significant cost reduction achieved this October, where spending has dropped by over 39.8% from the prior month. We were estimating cost upwards of $48,000. We have cut that in half here with a $25,000, $896 improvement. We exceed initial optimization targets with 53% cost reduction. Our current trajectory puts us on a $22,000 annual expense. But essentially, we implemented the changes as far as removing the old redundant calculator, which has led to all of these cost savings.
Well, that is, so that all the cost savings is just from removing the old calculator and going to the new manner in which y'all configured things.
With the modernized calculator, it's a more optimized, more streamlined approach to providing calculator services for the state.
And if I may, for a while there, the old calculator ran on its own program and it's on its own AWS platform, so to speak. So when the modernized calculator came on board, for a while there, we had to be kind of maintaining both of them. So we were maintaining two platforms simultaneously. And what they have done is they have put to sleep the old calculator platform. It still can be resurrected at any time if need be, but it's no longer active and it's no longer a live website anymore.
Correct.
Well, congratulations on being able to achieve this, and I'm sure other state agencies would probably like to know this secret of that kind of cost savings. But are there any questions from subcommittee members on the cost analysis report? Oh, anything further on that item? All right, well, while we have Judge Davis, I believe, and you can check me on this, we have a quorum.
We have three.
So we're going to shift back to item 2 on the agenda just very quickly. Judge Davis, you have a question? You're on mute.
You have the ability to mute him.
No, you can't unmute someone else. Can request something.
Oh.
Judge Davis, you're on mute. if you
Oh,
can hear.
goodness. Well, let me just, the original invitation took me to the webinar aspect. So I was not a panelist. So I was stuck there. But somebody caught it this afternoon and sent me just recently join as a panelist. It's the only way I was able to get in. So love being a panelist, but
Well-
that's what happens. So I just build it into the skill set as to how they go out. Invites to the public, invites to panelists, because it's a technological difference.
Well,
But anyway.
we're glad you made it on, and we'll move back to item 2 on the minutes. Of course, the minutes from the September 12th meeting were distributed to the members of the subcommittee prior to the meeting for review. Are there any corrections or discussion about those meeting minutes? Is there
No.
any objection to the approval of those meeting minutes?
No.
And hearing none, they are approved. All right, let's go to the very exciting reason that we are here so quickly after we were all gathered together last time. And that is for a demonstration of the parenting time adjustment and the low income adjustment. So Kurt, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Regina. So this is the moment we have all been waiting for. So what I'm in right now is I'm in the staging environment of our calculator. So this is the almost, I would say, test environment of the calculator. It looks and feels very much the same, but if Matthew behind the scenes has done anything new, it shows up on this website. So I'm already logged in. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a worksheet to demonstrate both the parenting time adjustment and the low income adjustment. So we're going to go with state court in Fulton County. And Jane Doe will be our plaintiff. Our defendant will be John Doe. We are going to select John Doe as the non-custodial parent. we go. Tyler Doe, born in 2023. Okay. And I'm just gonna give them a random $5,000 each of monthly gross income. We're gonna go ahead and save this. Okay, so now the big moment. We're gonna move to Schedule C. So this is brand new.
First one
First
exists
time
altogether.
Schedule C has ever existed.
Hmm.
So for the sake of demonstration, we're going to give the non-custodial parent John Doe 100 days of parenting time. And it automatically pops up that he gets an adjustment of $103.36. Now, if we go to, let's say at that point, we're done with our
Did
worksheet.
you have a question?
I-
Does somebody have a question?
Yes, I have a question. Is that 100 days for a calendar year or 2 years?
That is 100 days per calendar year, not for 2
Calendar
years. So
year. Okay.
the statute reads that it's the average of a 2-year period.
Right. Okay.
And you saw it auto-filled the 265.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everything looks pretty normal, but we do have a new line in the worksheet. We have the parenting time adjustment. So it is taking it off of the pro rata share of the obligation of John Doe. And it is now giving him a different adjusted child support amount and a different presumptive child support amount. And interestingly enough, and we'll get to this in a moment, but we have an additional line, line 11, which is the subtotal with the low income adjustment. Now, obviously, these two parties are not considered low income, so it is not impacting that. But that's just to show what that looks like. And just for fun, so to speak, I'm going to give them equal parenting time. And as you can see, the final adjustment amount is now the exact amount of his BCSO because they both have the exact same monthly gross income and they have the same amount of parenting time. So his adjustment is now $642.50. If we display this, his child support amount comes down to 0. Do we have any other, before I move on to the low income adjustment, do we have any other, questions or requests that I put in for parenting days? If I try to do something funny, like 200, it will not let me because the non-custodial parent cannot have more than 182.5 parenting days. Because at that point, if he had 183 or 184 or so on, they would not be the non-custodial parent anymore per the statute.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
going back to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Judge Davis.
And the calculation of parenting time is still through the other tool, the Minnesota tool, or I haven't used it because I haven't had to.
Number of days. Calculate the calendar tool.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, in other words, how do they quickly calculate parenting days?
Count days.
Count days.
The days.
So at this point, at this very moment, it's going to be relying on input from the user. What we are going to have is we are going to have and it has not been built yet. It has not been built into the calculator yet, but there is going to be what I refer to as the kind of cheat sheet that displays the number of parenting days for, kind of different types of visitation. So, a week on, week off. There's going to be a pop out on Schedule C that tells users what to enter based upon their, kind of parenting time schedule.
Okay. I mean,
But
'cause-
right now, that's an external,
Yes,
calculation that someone's doing, so
yes,
presumably that's still something, I guess for now at least, the judges will have to gatekeep about how the user is inputting, how they're calculating days to make sure it's in accordance with the statute.
yes.
okay. Yeah, I created cheat sheets a long time ago for myself off the Minnesota model. So, I mean, I don't go out and use the model because it's pretty routine for me. I wondered how these other folks were. Well, I guess we'll just have to help them with a 2-year calendar. All right. Well,
So Kurt, going back to gross income for just a second, let's just take a look at some things that aren't quite so cookie cutter, like
Sure.
50-50 income and something like that. Let's take a look at Jane Doe at $36,000 a year. That's is that $3,000? No, that's $36,000 a year. It'll divide it for me, which is great.
Yeah.
And let's move that up to, let's say, $7,500 a month. And let's see what that looks like with your original 100 days. Okay, so that's interesting. So that's very, very similar.
It's not much.
Okay. And then when you go to equal parenting time under that scenario,
Very substantial.
that is where you have a substantial
Yeah.
difference.
That's that bell curve.
But it's still not completely wiping out the
No.
BPSO because he
Not.
does make substantially more
More.
than her.
Yes. And if you gave him, let's just say, for sake of argument, say you had 50 days, it's not much of anything.
mhm.
Yep.
Now, I'm just curious if we could, we could try to give the CP, a higher BCSO share and the NCP a much lower BCSO share. And then that 50 days becomes a little bit more substantial. Let's see if we gave him 150 days. It gets pretty substantial at that point.
Mhm.
120, 192.
Mhm.
But, and Noel, you can attest to this. When statute review was debating this, this was kind of the best option we had to not have that like cliff effect.
Right.
And you can move it up each day, you can see it change. And those changes just get, greater and greater. Yeah. But there's not one particular day in the amount that the NCP has that's making the big substantial difference. It is graduated. And the more parenting dates that they have, the more graduated it becomes. So.
Yes. And just speaking out loud here, that so what this is showing us is the adjustment amount, and we have to
Right.
go back over to
Right.
the basic worksheet to then see the updated
Right,
BCSO amount.
And that's what's bringing over to the actual display version of the worksheet is what's in the green box. So right now it's bringing over 386.46.
So going back then to the basic information worksheet, let's take a look right quick.
So we see the adjustment amount come through as a negative, and it takes it off the BCSO when we have a new subtotal.
Then we go from there.
But the judge will be able to see, let's just say somebody runs that worksheet. As the judge is considering deviations, the trier of fact will be able to see, I'm going back to the worksheet where you were. the judge will be able to see exactly how much it would be before the adjustment is made and be able to take a look at that.
Sure,
The
absolutely,
impact
absolutely, yeah,
at a glance, if you
yeah,
will.
yeah. Still fully capable of entering any kind of, deviation, specific, non-specific, whatever they, wish to do at that point.
Okay,
That's one thing we never want to do, is we never want to take away a judge or, jury's ability to deviate. So, and we haven't done that, so.
all right, let's go back to, unless anybody's got further questions, I wanted to go back to Schedule C and get some input, or I should say a preview of once the calendar tool is integrated into the calculator, what will that look like? Where will it be, or do we know?
It's likely gonna be where we've got footnotes right here. Well, it's probably gonna be between self-employment calculator and footnotes. It'll probably function as a new tab. My vision for it is, where we have go to the self-employment calculator on Schedule A, then it just takes you over to the self-employment calculator. We'll have something similar to that. What we could do is, we could have, if y'all, if y'all would like this, we could have, when we build it, we could have a kind of pop out. Matthew, like, what do you think's feasible?
For calendaring?
Yeah.
I mean, wherever, the tab that you were mentioning is fine. I mean, yeah, I'm thinking there could be like some kind of button at the bottom there that would, once you kind of schedule those days in the calendar, it would auto-populate like the parenting days,
Sure.
something like that. So it could just be like right in Schedule C, just adjacent to that.
And of course, the subcommittee's seeing this for the first time, but all the members can be thinking about whether or not the placement of it makes sense up there on the tab where everything else is, or right there underneath the adjustment where somebody could start. By underneath, I mean right underneath that box right there, where somebody knows that they can start inputting and making sure they have the days correct with the actual calendar itself, right?
Also, do we want to change NCP to spell it out to non-custodial parent?
What's the
Yes.
committee's thought on that? Subcommittee's thought on that?
I think so.
Could I get the question again? I didn't quite hear every word.
Noel's question was, shouldn't NCP be spelled out to non-custodial parent there instead of abbreviated?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, any more questions about the parenting time adjustment and comments about the parenting time adjustment and how it looks on the calculator?
Would there be any way to add onto the Schedule C below where it says final NCP adjustment, just to show what the final monthly amount of child support is going to be for the non-custodial parent? Because I feel like that would be helpful too. Go ahead.
I can just say we tend not to do that in general. Like there's the main sheet that shows all of the calculations, and every schedule just handles its own thing, so to speak.
I see.
So that's why we typically, it's showing the adjustment amount, but you have to go back and display the worksheet to see where it falls in the calculation. So that's just a point of information. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything stopping us from doing that here.
But Anna, to your point, I think in terms of being able to see it on the same page that you're trying to sort through it, if you're trying to determine the effect of what a client has proposed or what opposing counsel has proposed in real time, go back, Kurt, if you will, and start doing the calendar days that where you were changing
Sure.
the parenting days. That does change the adjustment
Right.
in real time. So
And then there would have to be another box or another line saying, non-custodial
Yeah.
parents, BCSO amount as adjusted for parenting time or something along those lines, Anna.
Right. I believe that a lot of practitioners are going to think that that's the amount that the non-custodial parent is supposed to pay each month if they're not both on there is really.
We can alter the language of this too. We can say final non-custodial parent, adjustment from presumptive amount, or we can, it can say whatever we want it to say.
Sure, I think that would be helpful for sure.
Final non-custodial parent discount or something to that effect. Something to indicate, this, or, in parentheses at the bottom, this is not indicative of the final child support amount.
Right.
So final non-custodial parent adjustment, I think you want to stick with that language because that is what it is.
That's statutory language, right?
So from the presumptive amount, is that what you're talking about? Maybe putting there so that.
Sure.
Or even just in parentheses, if you put not the final monthly amount owed or something,
Yeah. Yeah, we could put in parentheses, right after it, say this does not represent the final child support obligation.
Right. Because not just practitioners, but also to the extent the pro se people get logons
Sure.
and click around and all this stuff, I think that could be helpful.
I'm also wondering, maybe should the word final be removed? Maybe just non-custodial parent parenting time adjustment amount. Final is throwing me off because we often talk about the final.
Yeah, it's not the final child support amount.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the non-custodial parent parenting time adjustment is really what it is. Not the final. And so I think maybe it's the word final that Anna is highlighting.
Mhm.
You can see, however, if you know what you're doing, and to her point, pro se litigants may not, you can see the BCSO share right up above it and know you need to subtract. But Judge Davis, did you have a comment? You've got your hand raised, I think.
Yeah. How about going with the IRS reference, which is line number on the front of the page, because that shows them exactly where that number goes and explains what it is. In other words, if you go to your display, it'll be there. It'll tell us which line number it is.
Right.
And so there it is. It's line 6. Deduction line 6.
Right.
And that way, one term correlates, matches exactly what the other is. So we're not using any other different verbiage other than what they see on the front of the sheet.
Right.
So parenting time adjust, line 6, parenting time adjust. And it's automatically put in the way this calculator is designed, so they can't really play with it.
Right. And if you wanted to put to the non-custodial parent, that's fine too, I think.
Yeah.
Line 6, parenting time adjustment for non-custodial parent.
Right. And that way, the layman would know that's the effect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think it's important to tell them where it appears so they're not looking.
Yes, sir.
Just add the line 6 in there somewhere.
We can say parenting time adjustment for the non-custodial parent, and then in parentheses say line 6 of the worksheet.
Yeah. Or just put 6 in the beginning, just as it looks on the front of the worksheet. I mean, I like it to, match one another. I just think it avoids Murphy's law that they get it wrong. Anyway, that's all I had.
All right, let's, anything else on the parenting time adjustment demonstration? Let's move, just for the sake of completeness, I'm sorry, go ahead, Judge Davis.
I'm sorry. I should have kept my hand up. I didn't. On the calculation of days, right now I'm hearing our weak link is they're going to manually calculate that. If you're looking at the parenting time calculator, there are only the holy grail would be a reasonably static parenting plan that would export the numbers automatically. A lesser step down from that would be what the typical choices are. In other words, check alternate weekends, weeks in summer, how many? And some of the calculators out there do that. This is not inventing the wheel. In other words, those things, and then a space for any additional holidays, even if it's just a short, because there's really not that much. We do winter break, we do spring break, we do summers, we do our list of holidays, and we do weekends, but that's most of it. And then some plans will say an occasional overnight, but they usually put that in and never comply with it. But that would quickly do their numbers, and it's not that hard to do.
So just Judge Davis, going back to the future for just a second, that's the, when the guidelines first emerged, the child support addendum, you saw a lot in a lot of circuits, maybe all circuits now do the addendum, had the space where there was a calculation of days in the child support order addendum, from the parenting plan, from the standard parenting plan form.
See, we don't have that, so
Yeah.
I'm at a loss on it. But
Yeah,
it seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably something we can continue to think about and ruminate about how best to provide the tools that litigants need to be successful
Mhm.
in utilizing the calculator and applying the guidelines.
Also, yeah, correct.
Okay.
I will say that, we have, at this point right now, it is making sure that the parenting time adjustment and the low income adjustment make it into the calculator functioning.
Yes.
That is priority number one, is that statutorily required. Unfortunately, our calculator is fairly complicated. It's a fairly complicated program. There's definitely room for future enhancements. I would like to see, maybe we can have links to, under a resources tab. It's pretty easy to put in a link to other, sources of information. If we did want to link to, Minnesota or Michigan's parenting time, calendar tool, we could, as for the time being. But certainly there's more room for enhancements down the line. So January 1st comes along, if we don't have everything the exact way we want it at that time, as far as, making things as easy as we can to the user, that's certainly room for a future enhancement down the road.
Well, speaking of low income adjustment, let's do a demonstration of that as well as the parenting time adjustment, even though at least that probably is something that if there's anybody on from the Division of Child Support Services, I don't know if they're on or not, but that may be something that the division has to
Right.
deal with on a daily basis, I would expect and suspect.
All right, so I'm creating a new worksheet, Jane and John. And we are going to make them both the non-custodial parent. So I'm gonna give them each, $1,200 of monthly income. That's fairly low income. Now, when we display, again, we haven't done anything with, Schedule B, Schedule D, Schedule C, anything like that. But now, the presumptive amount of child support for each, half of the basic child support obligation from the table, is $229.50. Now, with our new line 10 or line 11 subtotal with the low income adjustment, we see that it's moved. Now, per the low income adjustment table, under $1,500, it becomes 19% of their income, and 19% of $1,200 is $228. So, I mean, I know it's not a huge difference right here, but it does demonstrate that it's actually working. Then we go on to have deviations, a new subtotal, and then the final monthly rounded amount. I do want to point out a small enhancement that we did talk about, and I think Matthew is going to, change the look of this a little bit, but this is new down here. Jane and John paid Jane. That doesn't work since they're both non-custodial parents. So we have to change that up.
So that would say pay.
Yes.
That would just eliminate who they're paying to.
Yeah.
That would have to be in the order.
Let me.
Or it could maybe say the non-parent custodian's name.
We may do the non-parent custodian. Let me, for the sake of demonstration, let me make it a more traditional
Listen,
worksheet.
you found a bug. That's good.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it.
It's one of our strengths.
Right. So right now I've got John as non-custodial parent, right?
Mhm.
Now, instead of looking at, line 16, John pays Jane $228 a month. This is especially important when we have the flip scenario. If the non-custodial parent's quote unquote final obligation amount were to be a negative number, it will now say that the custodial parent pays the positive equivalent of that negative number to the non-custodial parent, as was written in 454.
You may have lost me there. Judge Davis, you have a question?
Yeah, you put in a parenting time deviation just to see
Sure.
how that's gonna play out,
Absolutely.
affect this basic number here? Because we'll likely get both.
Mm-hmm. So give John, 123 days.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So he has a parenting time adjustment of negative 71.39. And now, on line 11, since the presumptive amount of child support is the lesser amount between the low income adjustment amount, it doesn't impact it. The calculator, per the low income adjustment language from the statute, is taking the lesser of the two amounts. Now, for Jane, on the other side of it, it actually is it's still bringing hers down, because that 19% of her $1,200 adjusted monthly gross income is 228. And since 228 is less than 229.50, it's taking two.
Run this, eliminate the parenting time deviation on this and run that
Sure.
as zero income to the custodial parent and minimum wage to the non-custodial parent, just for my edification.
What's minimum wage? $7.15 an hour?
Well, yeah.
7:15.
I think it's 7:25.
7:25, I think.
Yeah,
12:60.
it's 12:51:50.
61:15. Got it. I should have remembered that from my days at
12:61:50,
DVFF, but
that's right. I was thinking 12:60, yeah.
oh. Does give him a slight break in child support. Not much. You know, we're talking $19 here, but
Mhm.
it's something.
So his share of the BCSO is the total BCSO amount of 258, and with low income, it brings him down to 240.
Yep.
Okay, that's also without any of the additional,
Mandatory adjustments.
the child, work-related childcare, and, because that was an
Anything like
important
that.
consideration of the study committee, was that the low income adjustment not just be off the BCSO amount. So right now, it's not looking like a big adjustment because it's only $19 between or so, right?
So what you're saying there, and this is just a point of clarification, I understood what you guys have said, but
Mhm.
the low income adjustment working in the calculator is working on line 7. I'm sorry, working on line 8. After it takes into account the mandatory adjustments on line 7. Is that right?
I think it would be off of line 10, but yes, the presumptive, which is the
Yeah.
BCSO calculation plus the additional expenses of work-related child.
Yeah. What
So
they
it
paid,
comes off.
what they've
of
actually paid, yeah.
That was
Okay.
a
It's
huge
coming off of line 10.
Okay.
policy consideration. Because there were some people who just thought, well, but those are actual expenses and somebody has to pay them. But if you don't give it off that amount, it's barely an
It doesn't do
adjustment. It
anything,
really does. It's $19.
And that's per the statute.
That's
Right,
per the
yes.
statute.
And I can play with this too. I'm gonna give, you know, Jane I'm gonna just put in Jane at minimum wage as well. But I'm gonna say that, you know, she's paying, we'll put in work-related childcare. And let's say she's paying just, you know, yearly, you know, $4,000. Not sure how she's doing that on minimum wage, but in any case. So now, again, the pro rata share remains the same. Adjustment for work-related childcare, she's getting credit for everything that she paid. And now his presumptive amount, again, he's on minimum wage. Before the low income adjustment would have been $404.66. And again, it's bringing it back down to that $239.69.
Mhm.
That's where it's really making a difference.
Right.
But not in a good way for Jane.
Not in a good way for Jane. Now, again,
Right.
you know, if we're looking at where this is occurring, where it's hitting within the calculator, we still have deviations. So if a judge does want to give, you know, John an upward deviation, say, well, you know what, $239.69, you know, $240 a month isn't enough because she's paying $4,000 a year in childcare, and he wants to bring that up by $50 a month, the judge can still do that. So we have not taken the judge's ability to deviate away.
Mhm.
That term, what, judicial discretion?
And by we mean the General Assembly,
Correct.
just for the record, not this group.
No,
Okay, not the Child Support Commission.
but if we had put line 11 underneath, you know, line 13, then if you would try to enter a deviation, it wouldn't have worked. So that's why it's on line 11. But
All
yes,
right, questions, comments, any hypotheticals anybody want Kurt to run? Let's go back to, so we're not seeing we don't have a separate schedule for that. It's not,
no,
it's
there isn't a
disappeared
separate schedule.
completely from the old space that it took on the calculator in the worksheet
Yes,
because it's working in the
in
background.
the background, yeah.
Okay,
Great, so now on Schedule E, there's no more parenting time deviation, and there's no more low income deviation.
Well, I will say that's not been removed yet. That is in the process.
Right now.
It is a bit more complicated than Schedule E is a complicated mess. So anytime we delete something, it has to be surgically removed, as Matthew has informed me. So we're working on it.
so what is the timeline for completion of all of it? Including the surgical
Removal.
removals necessary on Schedule E, if those are not yet complete.
Realistically, Matthew, what would you guess?
I would like to say between like a month and a half. I mean, I think part of it is planning out exactly what we're gonna do with the worksheets that were made before this legislation was in place, whether we're gonna, bring them back up as read only, or if we're gonna allow people to take their old worksheets that were made before and then edit them in a new light with this new legislation.
So you're speaking about the old worksheets that previously have either a parenting time deviation or a low income deviation. So the question arises of what do we do with those worksheets once January 1st rolls around? And that part of the calculator is no longer in existence. So the AOCIT team is going to get together at least two options of things that we can do with them. Either if they become read only, if there's some kind of, background program that is allowing them to be brought up. But they're going to give us options on what they can do, and then the subcommittee can tell us which way to go on it.
Well, let me say this about that. We are on October 22nd.
Yes.
January 1 is when there must be a functional calculator up and running. And so it is much more important and critical that these changes I just asked about on Schedule E be done and made, rather than these decisions about what people are going to do about their old worksheets.
Right.
So that needs to be prioritized.
Yes.
Because a month and a half puts us right in the middle of December, and that's a little too close for comfort for me. So we need to compress our timeline and get the worksheet itself done.
If the concern is about people making new worksheets where they are entering parenting time and low income deviations in Schedule E, I mean, that can be out by tomorrow. The question is about bringing up people's old worksheets and
not worrying about the old worksheets. How long will it take to take out parenting time and low income deviations out of Schedule E?
I mean, we can get rid of the fields to enter that information in the matter of like an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The question, it's about what we are personally going to do behind the scenes in terms of eliminating the function of them being able to enter that information. It can be done very easily.
There we go.
Yeah.
But are you saying that, you're not saying that affects anybody's work between now and January 1 on their existing worksheets?
That would not know, because this is all done in
No,
the staging environment.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and
All
so
right.
just, I would say, I don't think any practicing attorney needs it to still be in worksheet form. If the information were just there or it was a PDF instead, you can do a new worksheet in a matter of minutes. It's just, if there's an old case and you need all the other numbers, that would be helpful. So I think that would be all anyone would need, not some other mini program within to still let people run those things.
So Anna, like that, there was still some record of old worksheets. But if they wanted to say they were working on something on 12/31 and it's now, the new year, you'd want to see some sort of like read only or maybe a printable version of what had been in there previously with a parenting time deviation. Static, they can't change, and then going forward, they could either make a whole new worksheet, or perhaps if we could get that copy function, to work. I don't know if that's possible, but I mean, this is similar to the process we went through with the BCSO table update with things that were pending, and then we made the jump over 7/1/24, and the old sheets kept the old table and new sheets kept the new table. But this one's much more complicated because it's not two tables running in the background. It's the
Right.
whole infrastructure of the program.
Right.
Well, we'll be available if something needs to be decided. We can call a meeting and make ourselves available if need be. It's just the holidays, so
Right.
we'll all be mindful of that if something needs to be decided. Any other questions for the hardworking team here at the Administrative Office of the Courts? All right, well, I am very excited about this, and I don't know what you're planning to show the full commission on Friday, if anything, but I'm very excited about this.
Great, yeah. I may not do a full demonstration, but I'm gonna at least do screenshots to show them, hey, this is Schedule C. Look how beautiful it is. Show them the new lines of the worksheet. So yeah, very excited about it.
All right, well, we will, if we need to meet again, we're just gonna hold that in sort of abeyance as to whether or not we're gonna need to meet to deal with these issues we've been talking about here at the end of the meeting. And I see that Jackie Fortier joined us. Thank you very much. I hope you got most of that and saw the great demonstration.
I did, and I appreciate your patience in me coming late. I've been doing this on maternity leave, so.
Oh my gosh, well, I guess congratulations, and if you're getting some sleep, that is.
Getting some sleep now. I'm getting ready to come back to work, so we're trying to ease back in. But I appreciate all these changes that are being done, and I'm excited to bring that to the Brunswick circuit. That's quite busy right now.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we appreciate you joining us, and as always, all of our subcommittee members, we appreciate. We could not do the work of the commission without the subcommittees. All right, anything else for the good of the order? Well, the meeting is adjourned, and everybody have a good day. What's left of
Take
it?
care.